This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Well, our first show of March 2018, different month, but same mission. And that's bringing you all the latest ag happenings from the great state of Georgia. Welcome to the Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Bergamy. Yeah, we got a mixed bag of stuff for you today. Straight ahead, the FFA turns 90 years old, and there is so much to celebrate. John Holcomb with a special look back at this incredible organization. Also on the program, sure, they're small and look harmless, but these pesky little creatures cause on average $40 million a year in damage, and that's just here in Georgia.
And then later, from herbs to azaleas, this horticulture wonderland has it all. Travel with us to LaGrange, Georgia, as the Monitor is given a personal tour of Hills and Dales Estate. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Farm Monitor.
This year, the FFA turns 90 years old, and already the celebration has begun. Barrow County was the first to have a chapter in the state of Georgia, and recently they held an event to get the birthday celebration started a little early. John Holcomb attended the event and has the story.
The year was 1928. The FFA organization was just getting started in the United States, and it was about to begin in Georgia. The first to take on that challenge in the state was in Barrow County at Statham Consolidated High School. Here's a picture of the first chapter's members, and since then, Barrow County now has 3 chapters in their county, and hundreds of others have been started across the state.
Now we have 333 chapters in our state. 90 years later, we have nearly 42,000 members. We're the 3rd largest state FFA association in the nation.
All that's left of the original FFA chapter is this plaque on the gym of the old school, but their legacy continues to live on. Proof of that was shown at a celebration event held at Statham Elementary, where the old high school used to be. Family members of the first chapter and members of today's chapters were there, talking about the FFA of the past and present.
To be on site for something like this and get to witness it personally is really cool for me, and it's great for Georgia FFA to recognize those people who created this program and to see some of their family members and let them see what's going on now.
I know the kind of impact the FFA has had on my life, and just knowing that this is where that same impact that it's had on my life has begun for so many other people, especially knowing how many FFA members are in Georgia and knowing that this is where those people walked and went to school. It's pretty amazing.
One by one at the event, former and current FFA members got the chance to share stories of how the FFA has affected and shaped their lives. One of those that shared is the son of one of the founding members. He spoke about how his father loved the FFA and how he passed on that love to him growing up. He ended up joining the FFA in the 8th grade and talked with me about the impact it has had on his life.
FFA taught me that it's like if that piece of land's not productive, you don't say, well, I got a non-productive piece of land. Well, you go to work and you make it productive. I got that value of you take things and you work to make them how they're supposed to be.
Looking through the pictures on display, you can tell that in its 90 years, the FFA in Barrow County has changed the lives of hundreds of students and continues to do so today, changing the way they think about agriculture and even so much as changing the course of their lives as they choose majors and careers.
I'm hoping to start off at ABAC and get a 2-year associate's degree in agricultural education, and then I want to transfer into UGA Tifton and get my full-on agricultural education degree from there, and then I want to continue on and minor in international agriculture.
This celebration is just reassurance of how important the FFA organization is today, as it was 90 years ago back in 1928.
Ag education is still important. These young people are still learning about agriculture. Agriculture's changed, but they're still learning about agriculture, just like folks did 90 years ago.
Reporting in Statham for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
All right, John, thank you very much. Now, meantime, coming off a quality hay crop last year, farmers are starting to gear up for 2018. And with spring right around the corner, the University of Georgia hosted their annual Forage and Grassland Council meeting in Irwin County to share their latest research. Damon Jones was there and has the story.
As the old saying goes, you get out what you put in. And that's no different for livestock producers, as they need to make sure to feed their animals the highest quality products available to ensure excellent returns. That's why attending events like the annual Forage Conference is so important, as it gives them valuable information for the upcoming year.
You're making an investment. You're making an investment in time and your money on the farm. So make an investment to learn what you can from the research data, so that the decisions you make, the effort, time, and money you put out on the farm is going to give you the best results you can have.
To get those results, it's important to be aware of the biggest problems to be on the lookout for. And this year, that would be the Bermuda grass stem maggot, which feeds on the grass, causing damage and lack of green color. It's a situation that should be monitored very closely.
Well, the primary thing is to be out looking for it in late June, July in particular. What we're finding is that although if you're in far South Georgia and into Florida, it can start showing up a little bit earlier than that. But generally speaking, we don't really start seeing it and doing a lot of damage until June. It's become such a major pest, and by our estimates, costing somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 million a year just in Georgia.
Choosing the right cover crop is also essential, as it will increase the number of grazing days for the cattlemen. And fortunately, there are a number of quality options to choose from.
We really don't have one plant that can do it all for us, so we have to look at the warm season and the cool season separately. We have some really good, productive, perennial forages, but then the idea is really taking these annually planted forages and being able to fill in the gaps left around the perennials that are the mainstay and foundation of our grazing program. It's not as simple as there's one best plant for every situation, but we have a lot of choices. We have a lot of good choices. We just need to understand what it is we're trying to get back.
And with spring right around the corner, it's time for farmers to start thinking about how to prepare their pastures.
Fertilizer prices are actually pretty decent right now for us, better than they've been in a while. And so one of the things I think we need to really start looking at closely is potassium nutrition in particular.
And that could help later in the season as farmers prepare for what is expected to be a dry year.
And one of the big things that we can do there is to look at ways to stimulate root development. And one of the primary ways that we do that is with maintaining a good soil pH. So that allows that root to fully develop through this profile. But then again, phosphorus and potash are extremely important for root development too.
However, just like any other year, the biggest advice given is to cut your forage at the right time to maximize both quality and yield.
The timing of cutting is the absolute #1 most important thing. Of all the factors that affect forage quality, plant maturity is the #1 factor. So if, in the case of Bermuda grass, if we're cutting reliably on a 4 to 5 week cutting interval, then we're going to be optimizing the quality in general.
Reporting from Ocilla, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Very nice job, Damon. Thank you so much. Well, if you're into horticulture, this is one story you cannot afford to miss. When we come back, join us for a tour of the incredible and very well maintained Hills and Dales Estate.
Adolescence is a time when young people are trying to figure out who they are. Relationships and their role in relationships is part of that development. And so the models for healthy relationships are lacking for many at-risk youth across Georgia.
I don't know if you agree with me, but I remember when I was younger, we didn't have Facebook and we had to do more talking.
Relationship Smarts is a research-based curriculum that provides healthy relationship information through hands-on activities and information through a series of classes.
We've been real fortunate to have amazing agents, both 4-H and family consumer science agents across the state offering this program to young people.
So in order to get an overall buy-in from the community, especially here in Morgan County, we have a very well-established 4-H and youth program. And so the importance of me as the Family Consumer Science Extension agent collaborating with them really just, you know, they've paved the way. So for me to be able to kind of jump in on those collaborations that they've already established made it very simple for me to contact the Boys and Girls Club and say, here's an opportunity for us to come and deliver this grant, you know, related education program to them.
It's a great opportunity for Extension because the collaborations we're creating with schools, with community agencies, with the Division of Family and Children's Services, these partners are able to see what Extension has to offer, and we have a lot to offer. So these young people aren't just going to get relationship smarts. Our goal is to expose them to other resources, other great programs that Extension has available in their communities. With this grant, we're able to provide scholarships to graduates from the Relationship Smarts program to attend a camp this summer where they can interact with other young people, be exposed to more opportunities to promote their development, and hopefully join 4-H and be continued members and contributors and participants in 4-H programming.
It's all about working together. It hits here first, it starts here, and it's all about communicating and partnering with other organizations.
Talk about looking good for your age. At 102 years old, Hills and Dales Estate in LaGrange is a masterpiece in every sense of the word. But forget about the incredible architecture. What makes this property so unique and exquisite are the grounds that surround it. Word of warning for all you horticulture buffs, what you're about to see and hear could result in some mild hyperventilation. Just kidding, enjoy.
Hills and Dales Estate was the historic home of Fuller E. Calloway Sr., and he was a prominent textile entrepreneur here in the area and actually produced cotton duck. And he built this house in 1916 as a 25th wedding anniversary gift for his wife Ida Kaysen Calloway. And they lived here from 1916 until each of them passed away. And they purchased this property because of the garden. Back in 1912, the Sarah Farrell family had developed the gardens, and they loved the gardens, and Sarah and her family had passed away, so they acquired this property. And there was the Sarah Farrell's gardens were already here, and then they added this home to it. So most people build a home and add a garden. Here they had a garden and added a home.
You know, some of the exterior landscape was put in after it became the Calloway Estate, Hills and Dales. And it's named Hills and Dales because of the topography. You know, you drove up here and you saw that this is, you know, sits at the crest of a hill, and so the entire family estate encompassed many more acres than, you know, what we maintain now at Hills and Dales as a public garden. The original garden, the Farrell's garden, was constructed on terraces. This hill was terraced originally for ag crops, and terracing was done to control erosion. So your crop didn't end up at the bottom of a hill after, you know, washing rains. And so the north face of the hill had been left under crop cultivation by the Farrell family, and they built their home in pretty much the same spot, and the garden was constructed on the south slope, but they left the terraces. And so the garden, you walk down old steps. The main hedges are all boxwood. And we have several different varieties of those, of common box and English boxwood, and then some others. We have, and I mentioned the old magnolias, the southern magnolias that are here that are evergreen. Alice Calloway put in a very nice deciduous magnolia collection. So we have a number of deciduous magnolia trees that bloom early in the year. Some of them will start blooming very soon, mid-February. They're very precocious, and they'll start blooming soon and then bloom on through spring. You know, there's a variety of bulbs. We have a greenhouse collection in our greenhouse of ferns and maidenhair ferns, polypodium ferns, begonias, anthuriums, calla lilies. We have an herb garden that's adjacent to the greenhouse that she put in the 1960s. There's just a lot here for people to see.
Fuller Calloway Jr. and Alice lived here up until the 1990s. And when Alice Calloway passed away in 1998, she left it to Fuller E. Calloway Foundation and asked that it be used for the enjoyment and instruction of the visiting public. So she wanted it to be a house and garden museum. And now people can come in and take tours of the home, take tours of the gardens. We also do educational workshops. We have lectures. We do a wonderful picnic in the garden in the spring, which is free. If you bring in a picnic, you get to come in the gardens free. In the fall, we do stories in the garden. And in December, we decorate for Christmas. So there's always something new happening here.
When people come, they kind of, they call it, we hear a hidden gem. They say that, you know, the gardens are gorgeous, they're marvelous. People that are truly horticulture geeks, just, they geek out on the number of plants, the number of species that are here, the design of the garden, the fact that it's been here and is still extant from the 19th century, the historic garden, the historic park. So, you know, there's a lot about the property that appeals, you know, to a lot of people.
A unique experience indeed, and if you yourself are into architecture or horticulture and want to quote-unquote geek out, visit Hills and Dales in person. All the information you need is there on the screen. Check them out on Facebook or by logging on to www.hillsanddales.org. Don't forget, if you missed any part of the story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel, the Georgia Farm Monitor. Plenty of stuff to choose from. In fact, the archive goes all the way back to 2009.
And while you're there, keep clicking and like the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page. Send us some feedback as well. If you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, send us a message either on Facebook or at the address on your screen. That is news@farm-monitor.com. Well, it's a problem that's often overlooked. When we come back, the important role these doctors play when it comes to your animal's dental health.
As a child, my dad told me that this forest near our house, that we had owned it. As I got older, he started explaining that we owned it with other people. And eventually the idea of national forest was explained to me. I think that understanding that we actually own that, it really changed my life. I think that there's a disconnect between the public and the lands that they own.
Some people don't realize what the National Forest offers them.
People are just forgetting to go and see these wild places.
One of the biggest problems facing our national forest is just awareness.
I don't think a lot of people are aware that it is their public land.
I think it's really easy to take national forest for granted because it's always been here for us.
I see it as our most valuable resource in this country, and as a citizen, I think it's our greatest right to wander and roam and be connected to this earth.
The thing I wish more people knew about national forests is just simply how incredible they are. They're life-changing.
You know, I'd have to say that my time and experience within the national forest has had a huge effect on who I have become.
The National Forest means many different things to many people. My family can attest to the fact that after I get done climbing, I'm a happier, better person.
It's where I go to find my peace. It's where I go to reconnect with nature.
In national forests, I am completely present. It's one of the most important things for me when I need to disconnect from the rest of the noise.
It makes me appreciate everything else I have in my life. It leaves me with a sense of confidence that I can't get anywhere else.
It's in the national forests that you see the relationship between the land and the animals. It makes me feel alive. That's the feeling that I'm looking for in life.
When you own something, when you truly own something, you have an inherent responsibility to take care of that thing. That's in all of us.
To me, it's our shared lands, it's our shared heritage, and it's my responsibility to take care of it.
If we take care of it, it'll take care of us.
The responsibility that comes with being a steward of these lands, it shouldn't be intimidating. I think this is probably one of the greatest things that exists under the banner of what it means to be an American.
It's hard to really convey the value of national forests, but if you take a group of kids out there, it becomes pretty obvious. The looks on their faces, I mean, that's how you can understand the value of it.
Showing future generations to come that this is a place where you can go, and this is a place where you can heal. This is a place where you can grow as a person.
When I talk to my children about the forest and the importance, to me it's everything that's good in this world and life. It's really a symbol of freedom, just seeing what the potential of humanity is. Go play.
Go discover.
Go beyond.
It's all yours.
Finally this week, pet owners often do everything possible to protect their animals' health. Unfortunately, one thing that's often overlooked, and I myself am guilty of this, is the health of their teeth and gums.
Charles Denny has more on how an animal's mouth impacts their entire body.
Our patient is an 8-year-old boxer named Isabella. But this is no ordinary vet checkup. Isabella is here for dental work. The dog has overgrown gums and a cyst in her mouth. Isabella's owners discovered this on a recent vet visit.
Of course, once you know there's an issue in the mouth, as an owner, you become a little bit consumed with the behavior as it relates to eating, and so I have noticed that there's just not enough room in her mouth for her tongue.
At the UT College of Veterinary Medicine, they do procedures like root canals, tooth restorations, and oral surgeries. Overgrown gums, like in Isabella's case, can lead to bacteria growth, which can get into an animal's bloodstream and affect other parts of the body. February is National Pet Dental Health Month. Leaders here at UT-CBM say you should have your pet's teeth checked at least once a year, more often if your pet is older or a smaller breed of dog.
Yes, it is. So the statistic is that about 80% of dogs and about 70% of cats have some form of dental disease by age 3.
Tiffany Hunt is a dental and oral surgeon technician at UT-CBM and took x-rays of Isabella, performed a biopsy on the mass, and later cleaned her teeth. Hunt encourages owners to brush their pets' teeth and watch for things like loss of appetite and bad breath. Proper nutrition is also important for a healthy mouth.
It used to be a thing saying that you need to feed them dry food because canned food can lead to dental disease. That's kind of more of a myth we've learned over time. Now, dry food is nice because they do get that crunchy texture and mechanical. So what can happen is just their teeth can get loose and the gums recede, same thing as like in humans where we can get bad teeth and then they get loose and then they can get bacteria and infection, and so then they need to be extracted.
Unfortunately, that was the case with Isabella, who later had 3 teeth pulled. But her problems were caught early and her future encouraging. Your pet can have the same outlook as long as we make dental care a priority when it comes to overall health. This is Charles Denny reporting.
All right, Charles, thank you so much. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Farm Monitor.
And a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm, be sure you check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and with us here on the show.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the Farm Monitor.
Hope your week is great.